We are excited about tonight. We have got some good stuff planned. So I'm excited to share with you guys getting buyers off the fence. We're going to go very tactical tonight. Shannon and I are prepared to show you some things we've uncovered that might help you not only talking with buyers, but talking with sellers as well. So if you're a buyer's agent or a listing agent, or you're just struggling right now on words that you can use, we've got you covered. So excited about tonight. Shannon's going to be joining me. We're going to go through about 12, 13 slides. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll try to get to your questions at the end. But tonight you're going to leave, I think, feeling really good and smart about how to handle some of the challenges that are out there. And I know there's challenges because I had Candace, our sales manager, go ahead and call the MLS and find out what's allowed and what's not allowed. And I can see very clearly why you guys are struggling sometimes to get your buyers off the fence because you're needing to get some information from me, some clarity. So Shannon and I are prepared to share with you guys some ideas. So yeah, feel free to put it in the chat if you have questions as we go through, and let's go ahead and kick us off, Shannon. So what can you say? Well, there's a lot of things I could say. And this marketplace, I would say the one thing you want to say with your clients, you might think it in your mind like, F. Fudgesicle. What was the words you used, Virginia?
She says shiitake
Shiitake
mushrooms, which is
mushrooms
kind
are
of funny.
fudgesicles.
Yeah, well, we could say a lot of things about the marketplace, but it is frustrating when you're dealing with a lot of information and clients who are trying to navigate the marketplace. And so this is an email that we received, or actually I should say Candace received, when she asked the MLS, what kind of creative things can we do in our marketing remarks to get buyers off the fence? And so specifically that what they said, and it's right here, I just copied and pasted into the slide deck, was the rules don't specifically prohibit some of these credits to be put into the market remarks, but their general policy is to limit things to the features of the property. Well, unfortunately, MLS, knock on their door today, we're out of that marketplace. We have to think creatively. We have to think differently in order for our buyers to be motivated to take action. And so basic information like 2-to-1 buy down, credits that we're going to talk about here in a minute, these types of things need to go in your marketing remarks. And if you need to, just like this one, the sample down below here, I put seller offering a 2-1 buy down with an interest rate starting at 4.495%. That right there alone, that little segment of that marketing remark got a ton of views, a ton of interest. This house sold very quickly. But what is drawn in is that asterisk. So think of the asterisk as a way for you to provide more information. Now, you have to make sure that you apply this to everyone, that you're not limiting to a certain demographic or a certain religion or to a certain type of
Protected class,
protected class. I mean, that's what the asterisk is there for, is to make sure that you provide some more information. And that's exactly what this agent did down below. Notice that the asterisk drew the people in with the offering the 2-to-1 rate down, interest rate starting at such and such. The reason they could do that is because they partnered with the lender and provided that information in such a way in the asterisk and in the contract, so it carried all the way through. So you're going to want to think about how you publicly market so it applies to all. And that's the regulation. That's exactly what the MLS is saying right here. So make sure that you're advertising your information and about the program that you're promoting. Make sure that it's applicable to all and that it's approved by your designated broker. If you have any questions, shoot them over to me, to Virginia, to our sales team. They can certainly help you in creating some marketing remarks that will get people drawn in.
This is really interesting, actually. So for people that maybe have their listings get kicked back, or you're like, what can I not say? Like, what are they immediately going to just flag? This is kind of the naughty list, I would say, of the words that you cannot have in your marketing remarks. Most MLS, they are using AI checkers they still will have a human being go through the things that get flagged. But these are the things that are immediately going to put anything that's in your marketing marks. If you have any of these words in your marketing marks, we'll immediately put them on a flag for someone to be reviewed at the MLS to make sure that we're adhering to fair housing, HUD guidelines, all these different things too. So take a look at this list. There's some that are on here that I was like, oh, really? That's on there?
I think
But
you got flagged on professional.
I got flagged on professional one time. So, there's some stuff on here that maybe you need to take a peek at. A lot of stuff that's pretty intuitive, I would say. But if you're kind of looking at what the hit list is for these AI checkers,
I'd
this
take
is
a
the hit
picture of
list.
this list right here and pop that into your AI, train your AI,
Yeah.
so that when you are using AI to write your remarks, it already knows that these are things that would be flagged. There's nothing wrong with prompting your AI so that
Right.
it knows
So
this.
if you're using ChatGPT or Claude or something like that, give them this image and say, when you're building me marketing remarks, make sure that we do not use any of these words. And you can have this as an attachment in your instructions for your AI.
Go to the next slide. So why not? Let's just go further. So that's kind of like what not to do. Let's talk about some buzzwords that we have used. Shannon and I have used it in our business. I know Virginia, you have as well. Candace, Emily, Jenny. I know we are all using these buzzwords. And in fact, some of our videographers and photographers are now assisting us with buzzwords that actually draw people in and get people to click on things and take action. And so these would be the top ones. Seller credit, love that. Rate buy down, assumable loan. We're going to teach you guys more about how assumable things work. And seller finance, we have a power hour scheduled for August. Investment opportunity, price to sell. You're thinking, oh, that sounds a little edgy. Go with it. Price to sell is a great one. Well maintained, rare opportunity, incredible value, monthly savings, pre-inspected. We are still seeing pre-inspected homes going on the market in King County, and that is as a buzzword that's getting picked up and clicked on. Home warranty included. These are things that make people feel comfortable, especially after we're coming off of the pandemic where people overpaid, sellers are resistant to do repairs, they put the home on the market, and now they've created a problem for those buyers who are like, ooh, do I want to take somebody else's fixer upper or some lipstick on a pig? No, I want some insurance or some quality control, and that home warranty included is a huge buzzword that will help you. No HOA. If you're not in an HOA and you're in an area of Washington, Idaho, and Oregon where the whole, add a dadu or add these types of different types of property types on there, the HOA will prevent that. So having no HOA, huge advantage when you're creating marketing remarks. Low maintenance. People are very picky right now. They don't want to have to do a lot of maintenance. I was lazy.
And affordability. So these are all things that, when we look at consumer behavior and how they're handling, what they're searching for online, what they're using AI to find them home, because they are using AI to help them find homes. These are kind of the buzzwords that they're specifically using in those searches. So if you have these in your listings and you have these in your marketing remarks for those listings, then the likelihood of them actually being put on the list or on the hit list of things that they need to look at or consider, that this will help that listing rise up above some of those other listings that are on the market.
I don't know if you know, but in the Northwest MLS, you can actually do a keyword search. So that's an advanced thing you could learn. You have to put in some asterisk. I don't know what am I doing with that?
We're learning.
I'm making the pound sign. I'm turning it into
Yeah,
asterisk. Yeah.
asterisks. And this is really helpful. I know that I've got buyers, for instance, right now that are showing homes and they do not want to be in an HOA. The guy's a mechanic. He wants to be able to work on his cars at home. He cannot have an HOA. So what field do you use in the MLSs to indicate that? If you're using some of the MLSs, yeah, Rochelle's right. Use the asterisks. There's a
Put
field
like
for it.
asterisk, no HOA, asterisk, and it will pull anything in the entire database that fits in that kind of
That specific buzzwords.
buzzword.
Hmm.
Yeah, so some cool little tips you can use. I told you we're going to be
Just
action
jumped on
packed
this one.
tonight.
I forgot about it.
So we've got some credits. So this is one tip that I've used with agents that have called me and said, Rachelle, my listing's not selling. What can I do to kind of communicate the program that this listing will offer? Because there's so much good stuff that this listing can, get in touch with some really affordable types of things, make it good for a potential buyer. If you've got a listing that's sitting and you don't have a supplement of some ways to qualify or a buy down or some just even just a lender that's taken a look at the programs that are offered for down payment assistance. This agent, it's not even one of our agents, it's somebody from John L. Scott that put this together, got with Julie Sams. I don't even know Julie Sams with Empire Home Loans, but they went ahead and put this as a supplement into their listing. So if a buyer's agent was trolling through all of these listings and came across this particular house that was listed by John L. Scott, they would see that Julie Sams, that senior loan officer, has put together a 2-1 seller paid buy down details that will give them some clarity on what that price point would need to be. So again, we're thinking creatively, we're adding some extra to our listings. The credits for buyers and marketing is huge. If you can offer that in the marketing remarks and have supplemental information to help that buyer and help that buyer's agent put the pieces together, you might have a match. So credit from seller, Shannon put this together. I think it's great. These are some credits that you may want to consider speaking with your seller about. Can they do a credit from the seller? Can we market it?
Well, and some of these things are things you can do without having to outright just reduce your price. So
Yeah.
it's like it gets the seller on board with being open to some sort of concession before they really hit that purchase price buzzword. And so credit from seller, I mean, that's obviously for intended for a closing cost or a 2-1 buy down or something like that, some sort of credit from the seller. Some of these lenders are offering specific type of credits depending on the program that they're using. So we had a one that's a condo that cannot get traditional financing, but there is a 1% down payment option available.
And it's just because of the where it's
Just
located.
because, yeah. And I'm like, how amazing. That's better than what you could get from a typical type of financing situation for that house anyway. The more you can share, the better. Some creative options. We talked about this in some of our masterminds this last week too, but if you've got specifically a condo or something downtown or something without um, amenities on site for that particular property, paying for the HOA dues for 6 months, a year, what does that cost differential be? And is it kind of comparable to doing a price reduction? I mean, that might make the difference for a buyer that's like, gosh, I can't stomach $400 a month for HOA dues or $1,000 a month in some of those downtown spaces. If you got a condo downtown, a parking spot, parking could be the make or break for that condo. Maybe we'll find a parking spot that will work for that and that's nearby that complex, and we'll secure a parking spot for a year for that buyer. What does that cost do for them? But that's another way for you to market out different amenities or different things that will be buzzwords for that buyer.
Everything's on the table, you guys. Everything's on the table when it comes to the dollars and the cents.
Yeah.
So sit down with your sellers, figure out what they can do. It's not just a price reduction. Everything, like Shannon said, parking spots, HOA fees, all of the things.
Furniture is also
Furniture
yeah.
negotiable, things like that. Let's put everything out on the table and let's be strategic. And sometimes we've even tested this on a condo that was not selling. We thought, well, shoot, we'll just pay more for the agent. The agent can get paid more on a percentage, and that will do the trick. And what we ended up doing is not done that. We ended up paying the buyer some HOA dues and put that in our marketing remarks.
The buyer wants the benefit, basically, guys. The
It's-
buyer wants the benefit.
We've tested it. So we do know that there's something to be said about the marketplace that we're in, and you've got to be strategic about how you do it. So we've got a few different marketing remarks you can kind of take a peek at. These are ones that I would say are very well done. They've already closed escrow, so we know that this got a buyer and they got a great price. You'll notice in this particular marketing remarks that there is a credit from the seller. That's an opportunity to do that. It says new offering. Seller paid 2-1 buy down plus a $10,000 credit. Notice that that's in the very first line. We're speaking to the marketplace with these marketing remarks. Notice that it also is spelled out in the broker remarks with the 10,000 credit and the 2-1 buy down. And it says call listing agent for any questions. I'm sure there was a lot of dialogue between the agents, and when everything closed out, you'll notice that it sold very close to the asking price, but there was the $10,000 credit. And I'm sure there was a buy down when it came to the settlement statement. So great way of marketing. I wanted to highlight that it was in the first sentence. Sometimes some of you guys are just getting used to using AI and it comes up with these beautiful, like what the property is all about, but you've lost the buyer because you didn't even speak to the buyer in the first line or two. The only thing that would might make this call out a little bit more is if you capped the 10K credit or the 2-1 buy down. You might want to put that all in caps. The exclamation point was nice, but you might want to call that out in your first line. But I loved how this agent did it. You want to share about the
Yeah,
VA?
so for anybody that has a property where the owner is has a VA loan that's on the property or they own the property free and clear, they very likely could offer a VA assumption or seller financing. And by not asking, you're doing a disservice to your seller by not even asking about this. So if you are not familiar with handling a VA assumption or seller financing, owner financing, there's a lot of different ways that people phrase it, wraps, assignments, anything like that. If those words are somewhat unfamiliar to you, or you see that word and you go, I don't know, that seems tricky, you got to get on board because there's a lot of these types of transactions that are on the table right now. And this is how we're able to match make and kind of combat some of those higher interest rates in some of those areas and get some of these transactions to the close. So we do have a power hour we are offering this next month. So save the date, August 21st at noon. We are having Susan Schmitz from Ticor Title come in, and she is like the number one in the state of
She's a
Washington for
wealth of knowledge.
understanding
Yeah.
all of these unique situations. We've done a couple of these in the past, but I think the timing on this, if you got a house that's sitting, and again, you're dealing with a VA seller or a home that is 100% paid off already, you should be on this call.
Or just you want to pick up some more knowledge on how you can do these types of sales.
Yeah.
She's going to go over specifically how that's done and even maybe what you should put in the paperwork. So we've spent a
Yeah.
lot of time with Susan and Susan and Brian Bentley do a fabulous job at Ticor. So there's a plug for them. Okay, now under appraised value. So some of you have called me, and I won't pick on anybody here on the call. I think some of you are on the call and you've heard me say this, but I've even used this strategy with my own mother. Yes, I have. So I know it works because my mom is very high maintenance. And so what we ended up doing is getting an appraisal. So, I mean, family becomes really, really hostile. That's what I can tell you. When you're working with family, you pull out all the stops for sure. So we went ahead and got an appraisal on the place. And if you can market the home, or maybe you have a deal that fell out because the buyer flaked out the last hour, one of the key things you can do, and the one thing I would have done differently on this listing that's 649, it listed at 699, 649. It actually, the appraisal came in November 2025 at 719. This was an incredible buy for a buyer, but what the agent did a poor job of doing is not highlighting that it's under appraised value. And maybe they did it on their flyers and their open houses. I don't know the full story on this one, but what I can tell you is that that's a huge opportunity. If you have a property and you've had an appraisal done, or it's maybe priced under assessed value in, like, say, Ocean Shores, Washington, for example, where the seller is super motivated and you've had it appraised at a certain price, highlight that. The first line should have said under appraised value or appraised at 719, and then they can kind of make up the
The
mind.
buyer can basically take a peek at that and
They're
think,
excited.
I'm literally walking into equity. They will like that. They want to see that. They want that assurity, especially because of some of the homes and purchases that people were doing after the pandemic, that they don't want to be in that situation where they're locked into a property for another couple of years. They want that assurance of their value.
So, I mean, even what you said there, you said lock in to opportunity. I mean, that should be your first line. Don't miss this.
Walk into equity.
Don't miss this. Don't know if that's going to really get me off the fence, right, Shan?
Yeah.
But under appraised value, walk into equity. These are the kinds of words that get a buyer off the fence and saying and calling you and saying, hey, how do we put this deal together? And this buyer probably sat on the fence for 62 days when they should have just gone ahead with the 719
Yeah.
and put that even in the marketing
Yeah,
remarks.
the agent, what the agent should have done in this situation, they held back too much information. They should have put this in front of the consumer because the consumer doesn't see the broker remarks. They only see the marketing remarks for the listings. But the consumers are the ones that are having to pull the trigger, and what will get them excited is definitely that appraisal and the 1% lender credit. I mean, if I'm looking at that,
That's at the
those,
end too.
yeah,
At
gosh,
the beginning.
put those at the beginning. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Your lender, and we don't have, you can use whatever lender you like. We're a choice company. We let you choose which lender you want to use when you want to connect your buyers up. But if you're not spending the time with your preferred lender or the lender that you trust to help connect the deal with your buyers, they can produce at any point in time. April Janice, she is awesome. She's at cross country right now. I called her up because I've got a house up in Bonnie Lake that's sitting and we put it back on the market. We're doing all the things. And I want to have a cost of waiting sheet put together for some interested buyers, maybe even to put on the back side of the flyer or to have as an attachment in a supplement. This would be what you'd want to show.
So I had a client, I'll give you kind of real scenario on this, that we have been looking for over a year. And I'm sure all of you guys have felt this where you're getting to the end of summer, they're needing to get situated because their kids are going to start school again. And they go, well, maybe we just kind of hang out for a couple more months. And then, when we get to February, March, we'll start looking again in the spring when there's more activity, there's more homes available.
Thank you.
Maybe we just kind of hang out for a bit and then we'll buy next year. The moment they start using that type of terminology, that's when you say, you know what, let me see if my lender can give you a helpful kind of analysis so you can kind of see what that would look like for you in terms of your equity position, to compare. And so I've used this time of year, if you're kind of wrapping up the summer, this is kind of a good time of year. If you've got people, why not send it to everybody that is looking for homes right now and say, hey, here's kind of where we're at. I just want to make sure that, we've got direction and you know what you're doing for the next couple months, that you can build scripting, I'm sure, around this, but having the sheet provided from the lender, I think will be a nice little marketing plug for you.
It's good. Let's go to the next. And then this is part of the cost of waiting sheet. It breaks it down. So waiting 6 months, waiting a year, you can see that becomes the property value goes up. And it has been, if you look at we're not going up like double digits like we did, but it's still a very healthy increase in Washington, Idaho, and Oregon. So by putting in some assumptions like that, you can clearly see that waiting is not a good plan for a lot of your first-time home buyers or people that are going to be in a stable situation for at least 3 to 5 years. It
Yeah.
does not make sense for them to just sit and wait for whatever is
Yeah,
gonna
they're
happen.
paying rent the next 3 to 5 years. They could at least be paying towards their down payment or, basically goes into the next property that they're wanting to buy rather than just paying their landlord's mortgage.
So weekly pending sales. I don't know if you guys know this, but anybody that's using Northwest MLS, you can go in and you can see how many showings it takes to get to a pending offer. I don't know if you guys know that, but that's very easy to find. You would go into the MLS, you can go to statistics, and you can indicate what city, zip code, or area that you want to look at, and it will specifically tell you how many pending, how many bites does it take to get to the cookie?
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
so it's a pretty cool report, and you can provide that to your sellers and then help guide them in the decision-making process to do some sort of adjustment or credit or something to lure some more activity into the mix. That is something you're going to want to probably start to consider if you're not getting the seller what they want. So you're going to want to review every single week.
Candace is a big about hot sheets. Set up a hot sheet for yourself. If you've got people looking in your neighborhood, you've got a seller in a specific city, set up a hot sheet for yourself so you're kind of briefed on the market when they ask you. But more importantly, if you have an active buyer or a seller in a specific city or certain criteria, what's the harm in setting up a search for them, especially for your sellers where they're like, why isn't my home moving? Well, there's Mr. Seller. There's been 2 homes that popped up on your street this week. I know you're not living there right now, but there are literally 2 competing properties now than there was 2 months ago. It'll help you when you go to them asking them for these different credits or concessions or updates to marketing remarks, all these different things. if they have that search set up ahead of time. Buyers, obviously, it kind of goes without saying, but yeah, continually to sending them properties either manually, but you can have that set up automatically within the MLS as well.
Yeah. So use your MLS, use your stats, and use the resources that you have available to you. They're all there, and it's not hard. It's the communication around that where you do need to nudge them forward a little bit faster than you probably have in the past. I think we've been a little bit shy, like, oh, we're gonna wait and see. No, it's the timing is now, and that's why Best Choice Realty is doing such a good job this year of getting ahead of the marketplace and having one of the best years ever. It's because we are using our resources and then doing a better job than our competitors at communicating those resources
Yeah.
to our clients.
And these micro markets is definitely a thing right now. So it's not necessarily, oh, I had an agent that came on a mastermind a couple weeks ago, and he goes, "Oh, this market's terrible." And I just wanted to scream inside because what's your definition of terrible? Terrible now is not terrible in 2008, but is that terrible compared to 15% interest rate? I mean, there's a lot of different nuance when it comes to the market is terrible. So I think it's more how you phrase and, what your perspective is on things and being very specific. Because if you got a home that's looking, I was looking at homes with a buyer a couple weeks ago. And one home that they were looking at, I already knew was going to have multiple offers compared to the one that was literally in the same price point, same city, different type of house though. And I go, that one's going to sit.
Yeah.
So it be very specific, be really clear with the buyer so that they understand and they have the proper expectations of I need to move on this one compared to I've got some time to think on this one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next slide. It's some more agent. I gotta share because these are so good. I mean, new price. Look at how they've highlighted the first line. New price, exceptional value. Notice that they put that all in caps. That is also speaking to what they did in order to get it done. They had an inspection report in the agent remarks. They had to upload that. They had a rate buy down spreadsheet in the supplements. They put that in the broker remarks. They pulled out all the stops. Want a manageable monthly payment or creative options for financing, that probably needs to be that cap, probably need to be brought up to the top. You rework your marketing remarks.
This agent did a good
it.
job, though. I mean,
Yeah.
if you really look at it, it's like new price, exceptional value, no HOA. We've got manageable monthly payment, creative wrap options for financing available, pre-inspected, 1 year home warranty. I mean, at this point, as a buyer, I'm like, why am I holding off
You know
on
what
this
the
guy?
kicker on this is, Janet? Look at the agent remarks, the last line this agent put. Seller is a licensed agent in Washington.
Oh, the broker remarks, yes.
So
Yes.
why are we not doing this for our clients? If
Yes.
this is what we're doing for ourselves when we list our properties, we should be pulling out all of the things when we list for our clients and doing this type of job. This is incredible. They were all over it. Yeah, Candace, 100%.
Yep.
I love this one too. Lower your payment, not your expectations. I'm sure they had AI help them with this, but builder offering rate buy down, closing cost credit, and potential 0% financing with preferred lender. Probably should have put an asterisk. You need to put that in the remarks if you're going to offer any kind of incentives like down payment, down.
Yeah, you're not a lender, so
You're
you
not a
want to make
lender,
sure that that's
so
kind
make
of
sure
flat.
you have an asterisk. This one I would say I highlighted because I liked how they put that in the beginning. Clearly was a builder. The builder dropped from 515 to 485. They've loaded it up with all of the things.
I think the big thing on this is that the builders are offering incentives, guys. So if the builders are doing it, how do we compete? Especially if you got a home that is kind of in the similar type of price point as another new build, we have to offer some sort of comparative type of incentive for these buyers to pull the trigger and buy a resale over a new build.
Yeah.
So get creative, find some ways that will make it set apart. I mean,
But be sure you're like on this one, I would not copy paste this one. I would definitely have an asterisk and put something in the broker remarks to illustrate that this is applicable for whatever you can do. When it says 0% down financing, there is certain exclusions that apply. So make sure you do that.
We've got a couple scripts we wanted to throw on here. We promised this to some of our agents from last week of like, what should I tell my buyer? They're offering, they're holding back for one reason or another. And so these are the top 4 reasons I think that most buyers are holding back from offering or moving forward. So if you don't know how to speak to these different things, we're going to tell you how to speak to it.
So I'll just go through it. So Shannon,
Yep.
I'll give it to you. You tell
I'll
me
be
if
the
it's
buyer.
not.
So I'll be the buyer. And I say, ooh, these interest rates are just way too high. I can't handle this.
Shannon, if the rates were 1% lower, would you buy today?
I mean, maybe. I
Okay.
guess, yeah.
So it makes people stop and think. I mean, obviously you want to couch this, but these are just some of those quick talking points that you can just put on a note card and just practice.
So, oh, the interest rates are way too high. I can't handle a 6 or 7 or 8%.
Is it just the rate or is it the monthly payment that you're mostly concerned about?
Oh, I don't know. It's crazy. When you think about that monthly payment, well, there you go.
Okay, so you just got to get used to some of the lingo because this is what people are saying. We
Okay.
think we should maybe, I mean, we're gonna swap it
We're
now,
gonna swap.
Shannon.
Okay, got
Okay,
it.
so I think Eric and I are gonna wait until maybe prices drop.
Well, how much would the price need to drop before you'd actually feel comfortable moving forward?
About a half a point, maybe.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe we need to take a look at some properties that we can negotiate and do some things there.
There you go.
There you go. Similar kind of thing is, well, what if prices stay flat but the rates increase?
Well, then we might need to get creative on how we structure our current residence.
Okay, well, let's see if we can look at our creative options there.
Yeah, so it's not difficult. It's just getting familiar with, hey, this is what the buyers are thinking, and if they're not saying it to you, then you just be prepared that we need to get them to this point where they're having conversation
And
and let
I
them.
think too, we're getting caught as agents. We are very empathetic creatures. And so when a client says the interest rates are too high and maybe,
We like say,
well,
oh yeah, I agree.
oh, I feel ya. Oh, I feel, we need to
And then
stop
stop that.
that.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. Instead, ask a question that generates them to actually tell you why they're saying that. Why are they saying the interest rates are too high? Oh, well, I really got to budget for this, that, the other. We can't afford more than $3,000 a month because of XYZ. And you're like,
We have
okay,
to engage.
well, then we need to work with our lender a little bit
Yeah.
closer on some of these things. So rather than just having that visceral reaction of, oh, I feel you, this market, I don't know, instead ask a question.
Great. Let's go to the next one. We got a couple more and then we'll
Yep.
wrap for the day. Shannon, I just need some more time before I do anything.
What's the biggest thing causing you to hesitate right now?
It's just, my house, I've got a lot to do to it.
Okay, well let's talk about, so then you can start unpacking. Why is there a lot of stuff to do with your house? Do you have a home to sell right now?
Yep.
Yeah. Is there a major repair that happened in your home that you didn't budget for? Now I've got some more information that will help me guide and
It's a
advise.
very big, but I need more time. And it's like they just kind of land there and then
They're just trying to get you to go away.
yeah.
We don't let them down easy. You got to
Yeah.
make it a little bit more difficult. Another kind of response to that would be, well, what would you need to know before feeling comfortable moving forward?
Well, I'd have to know more about my home value because the neighbor down the street just listed and they cut their home down way too far.
Oh, I
It's
get that. I mean, I understand, the neighbors can't impact values, but would it be helpful if I put together a pricing analysis in your current home so you understood what your
That would be
values at?
helpful.
There you
Yes.
go.
Okay.
So the next one, well, Rochelle, I don't know. This just payment is way too high. I don't know if I can do $5,000 a month. This is crazy. I'm a first-time home buyer.
I know. What monthly payment feels comfortable for you though, Shannon?
I mean, right now I'm paying X amount in rent.
Okay. So what if we were to bump it to say 2,500, would you be able to make that work?
I mean, maybe that's only a little bit more, but I would own my house, right?
Would it be okay
So
if we put you in touch with a lender that can kind of go over some different scenarios for you?
yeah, that would be good. It's been a while since I talked to my lender.
Okay. So you just need to gauge the lender and bring them into the conversation. When people are saying the payment is just too much or it doesn't feel comfortable, let's get the lender on board and let's do a conversation, a Zoom. Let's get them on the phone together so that we can go over some of those options. That's really the best thing you can do. So to wrap up, we have a lot of training opportunities available this month. So if you are wanting to get some additional training, be sure to check out our calendar. I know we've got another sequence coming up. Virginia is doing another Rainmaker series where she's going through 16 weeks. There are some great opportunities that way to improve and increase your business. So if you want to check that out, you're welcome to reach out to her directly and she can give you the skinny on that. And with that, we'll go ahead and open it up for any questions. Was this helpful for you? Go ahead and put in the chat if it is. Thank you. I got some
Thanks,
thumbs
Jen.
up and some hearts. I love that.
That makes me know that my audio is working this entire time. Yep.
All
Thanks,
right.
you guys.
Okay.
Okay, have a great week. Good luck this week, and don't feel bad about reaching out to us. There's plenty of people you can call here at Best Choice if you need some help working on an individual circumstance. I know
Or
it's
if
a
you want
busy
to,
Monday, but go ahead and give us a call if you're working on something. We'd be happy to help.
don't be shy to put some marketing works together.
I know. Instead of like, what can I not do? Let's focus on what we
What we
can
can
do.
do. That'd
Yep.
be good.
Yep.
All right. Have a
Thanks,
good
you
one.
guys. We'll see you next Monday.